are your views on the hits and misses of the devolved governance. You can talk to me via my SMS number. Give me your comment, 23814. 23814. I have my WhatsApp number 0721 105 and 105. We are live on our account FB MBCI TV, and we are also live on our YouTube MBCI TV official. And first, one thing that we are going to do as usual, we are going to bring some highlights of what is happening in our country for the last few days. We are going to do it together with my guest, Mr. Anthony Mwidaga, who is a governance expert. Once again, you are welcome to the program this morning. Paul Kagi is my name. Mr. Anthony Mwidaga, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Long time.
I'm happy that I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always a great privilege to be here.
Yes. As usual, I know you have been here before for some debates, but today I'm giving you another job. Mangito is not in today. We can do some analysis of the program to check on what is happening in our country for the last few days. And one of the things that is coming up clearly, the sports CS, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, has been summoned by the National Assembly for what the National Assembly is saying neglect on his duty. And it is too unfortunate that the guys who are coming up with these claims are the members from his side, that is UDA. And there is a complaint from some of the quarters from the government that Ababu has been sleeping on his job. You need to come and explain. You know, we have been having some sports for like some few months in the country, but he has not been going to represent Kenya or maybe to follow up what is happening, and many more complaints. And I could hear the leader of majority in parliament, Ishungwa, who was saying that the work of CS for sports is to represent sportsmen and to take care of their affairs, right? I don't know whether this is a reflection of maybe what is happening among our CSs. Yeah? What is your take on that being summoned?
Well, allow me to start by saying that, Kagi, there was nomination,
yes,
there was vetting, and eventually appointments of these CSs. The first two stages should have given the president an opportunity to get rid of those people who are not prepared to work.
Yeah.
Given the fact that Ababu Namwamba has a unique status. He looks sharp. He looks like he knows what he's doing. I tend to think there is more than meets the eye, you know. Someone is up to no good to make sure that Ababu leaves that position so that he gets replaced by one of them. And fortunately, it is from the same UDA fraternity, the brigades. I'd really not say that Ababu is sleeping on his job. Maybe because he wants to behave like Kibaki. He's learned from Kibaki, who kept quiet and did a marvelous job.
Yeah.
Well, whatever else that may be happening there, I'm not privy to it because I've not bothered to find out. But I think there's something that is not right.
Yes, and I had one concern regarding to our CSs, not all of them. I was thinking of a CS whose ministry needs him to be on the ground. And there are some CSs whose roles dictate they be in the office. For example, a CS for agriculture. Personally, I feel this CS need to be more on ground than in the office, because his work is more in the field, in the meeting coffee farmers, meeting sugarcane farmers, meeting maize farmers and everybody, milk farmers, instead of spending much time in the office.
Well, I tend to think, Kagi, our attitude towards leadership is the problem. Because ministers, just like all the public servants, they ought to be seen working. But most of the times they're in their V8s moving around, partying. And you've seen that on Facebook. They're either partying, having drunk silly. I don't think they're committed. It must be a shocker to them that they got the opportunity to be in this government. So they're not quite ready for these jobs. So, and I think it is now time for the president to act. If it doesn't act, then they'll go down together.
Yes, there was something also, before we move to something else, The president a few weeks ago was complaining that his CSs are not coming out to public, even in media, to be able to explain the government policies. In fact, I remember DP was saying that the CSs, nobody is coming to explain what government is doing. What do you think is causing, as compared to previous governments where CSs could flock in media houses, but for these ones, they are not available in the media houses explaining what they are doing with their ministries? What is not happening?
I think it is just they don't understand their job descriptions, because it's unfortunate when you get people who are just excited, rewarding sycophancy, because that's what the president did.
Yeah.
He rewarded sycophancy. Now he's shocked that the same sycophancy is about to eat him. Yeah. And sooner than later, I think this government will suffer from what we call hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Which I know most doctors understand what I'm talking about. Yes.
And somebody said last time that maybe this is due to the president is outshining them in performance. Well,
the unfortunate bit that has been wrote off for you, and being a politician, and I mean a politician, unfortunately, will always want to take the center stage, because the others are not supposed to be politicians, but we've drawn them from the political world to become our ministers.
Very true.
So it is hard for them to move away from that thing that they're so much used to. So the tendency of negligence, the tendency of not knowing what to do is rampant.
Now, away from that, we have another issue here, the inter-party talks, which is happening right now. We know there is a technical committee that is helping to be able to formulate the agenda for what they are calling the National Dialogue Committee. And something came up yesterday whereby the DP was very categorical. These talks are null and void. They are waste of time, waste of resources. They are not going anywhere. And I don't know, I was trying to evaluate what he was saying, and I was asking myself then, who initiated these talks? Was it not between the government and the opposition? Because the way DP was talking is as if these talks were not government maybe initiation or maybe agreement with the opposition.
Well, I tend to support DP Gachagua for the first time on that very note, because I've said, and I want to repeat it here, that the bipartisan talks are useless. They're obsolete. We should not have gone that direction. I think and I'm going to say it boldly here, that Baba should have just stuck to peaceful demonstration, of course non-violent and peaceful demonstration, all the way to the end. Because you see, he's carrying the hopes and the aspirations of people. So by getting engaged in the bipartisan talks, whose structure nobody understands, today they are on, tomorrow they are off. They're playing with the psychology. They're actually insulting the intelligence
who is playing,
of the people.
Who is playing? Is it the opposition or
of course it's the government.
Parties?
You remember last time, Kenya, the Azimio team was waiting for Kenya Kwanza team. And I think the president went with them to, is it Netherlands or Switzerland, wherever they went. So these fellows were left stranded. So that tells you that there is no commitment to true change in this country. Because some people don't even believe in the change, because they are never part of the liberation struggle. We are in the second phase of the liberation struggle, having been started by Raila Amolo Odinga, Martha Karua, Orengo, and the others, who committed themselves to that. Koigi wa Mwere, one of them. And it's unfortunate that after 20 years, we are back to where we started from. Yes.
So you want to say that you don't feel they are going to bear any good fruits for us?
No. It's a waste of time, waste of public funds, because of course they get paid. It's a waste of time.
Okay.
Yeah, it is dead. These talks are dead.
Now, there has been a deliberate effort by the government, not only for the Kenya Kwanza government, for even the previous governments, to be able to rescue the sugar industry. And one of the things they have been doing is to offset the debts maybe owned by the millers, or maybe trying to maybe pay the farmers. And this time around, the government and MPs, the government is trying to seek MPs to be able to give them a nod to offset billions of money owned by the millers. And the main agenda is to revive and to save the industry. And you know, one of the areas that I think is being challenged compared to coffee, compared to tea and maize, The one which is lagging behind for many years is the sugar industry. Before you even look at this matter, the proposal to bail them the 117 billion, why do you think it has taken too long for us to be able to stabilize the sugar industry?
The unfortunate bit, because I'm sure you must have read history in the mid-70s and 80s. We used to hear of Miwani Sugar Company, Webuye Paper Factory, and they were doing well because the Kenyatta's regime, the Jomo Kenyatta's regime, supported that. And I think he was so committed to the growth of our industries.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have allowed people, and I remember President Moi spoke about liberalization, and be careful what you wish for. Unfortunately, we pushed him, and we allowed that to happen. People are able to import sugar and create artificial demand. Because about 3 weeks ago, I listened to people from Miwani complaining about their sugar still in the field there. Yeah. And you're telling us that you'll be bringing sugar from Uganda, wherever it is, or Brazil. It is not right. And remember, the other one that had been impounded, that was said to have the poisonous sugar. True. It is out here. It's unfortunate what we are doing to our farmers. We are not encouraging them. And like you said, the agriculture minister doesn't go out to see exactly what their problems is. Your work is just to sit in the office and hope that your officers will feed you with the correct information. This should be the same sort of relationship that we have between the government and the NSIS, right? So people are suffering because some rogue traders want to bring in that sugar at the expense of our own. If we would adopt the policies of the late Captain Thomas Sankara, may his soul rest in peace, a man who said, I'm not going to allow this to happen. And for the next 4 years, he transformed Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, the forces of evil, France, decided we can't have him. And, they set Blaise Compaoré against his childhood friend. And so if we would only adopt attitudes through what we call genuine patriotism. I love my country and I want to see my country grow from this level to the next for posterity. Unfortunately, that's not about us. Ours is about politics. So some people are looking at the 2027 election. We all are anyway, because we are politicians, but unfortunately, we are not able to deliver. We made promises, we've not been able to deliver. So the sugarcane grows in Miwani and sugarcane belt will suffer. And they have no voice. They don't have a voice.
Our MPs are because we have leaders in Western regions, some of them are very prominent.
Most of them are compromised, Kagi. Most of them are compromised. So long as I line my pocket with a 3 million, 2 million, I'm home and dry. So whatever happens to them, that's up to them.
If you compare the deliberate and aggressive effort done by the government to save the coffee sector, do you see as if the coffee sector is going to come back to its originality?
I remember I spoke with a friend of mine who happens to come from Moranga. And this is what he told me, that during Uhuru Kenyatta's time, President Uhuru Kenyatta's time, they used to get their money on time, not in time, on time. And when I asked him what is happening now, they've not received any money, right?
And they are selling their produce.
So he's forced to use his own salary to take care of his family, his mother and a few of his brothers at home, his siblings. And I remember Mr. Munyo, Honorable Munyo, fought so hard to make sure that he was able to get rid of those cartels. And somehow, our coffee had come back, had resurfaced, our tea, because you can imagine all these people being able to sell their coffee wherever they were selling it. And what made me believe that our coffee is not doing well is when most of these people's farms would be invaded by thugs. They would kill guards and take away the coffee. So that tells you it was regaining its original identity. But unfortunately with the Kenya Kwanza government, they will not pay those people. I asked him, This is from an honest opinion and said, no, we've not received our money. So I'm forced to get something out of my pocket to take care of my family back home. It's unfortunate. It is
but
unfortunate.
if the government manages to reorganize our agricultural sector, that is coffee, tea, and even sugar, and others like maize, don't you think it's going to help to be able to revive our economy in a more aggressive way? Well, if it happens.
It lacks that commitment. I can tell you that, Mr. Kagi. It lacks the commitment. You see, and why I'm saying it lacks commitment, because I think it would be prudent to the president to make sure he avoids these rallies he keeps holding from time to time and castigating Azimio. And you've been given a job to do. If you really understand your job description, sit down and map out what you need to do.
Yes.
And go in there and keep quiet like Kibaki and work. Let us see the results. So the idea of having to move from this county to this, castigating all, the handshake story, doesn't help us. Yeah.
Now, dear viewer, you are listening to the Mid-Morning Pack, and today we are talking about the devolution. Our topic is on the assessing state of devolution in our country. And I'm asking you a very simple question. What are your views on the hits and misses of devolved governments? What are your views on the hits and misses of the devolved governments? My SMS number 23814. That is our usual SMS. And then we have our WhatsApp number 0721105105. We are live on our accounts, Facebook, MBCI TV, and YouTube, MBCI TV Official. We will be looking at this matter later on in the program. And as we continue, Mr. Anthony, there has been an issue which has been coming on and off, which emanated from the cabinet meeting, whereby the cabinet approved that they can approve the selling of parastatos without going through the parliament. And you saw by today, there is no parastatal which can be sold by the government without approval by the National Assembly. But the Parliament has been requested by the government to nod the selling of parastatos by the Treasury without going through the National Assembly. But yesterday, the Parliament was not very comfortable with that proposal. They are saying there's no way you can be able to take such a bold step without involving us. We need to have to do our job, the checks and balances. Right? Why do you think the government want to sell parastatos without going through the parliament? What is it?
Why a sudden change of attitude by parliament? They realized this 2027 and they want to be re-elected. Because they were part of the group that had given the nod. And I'll be wondering which constitution President Ruto and his cabinet would be reading, unless he's reading it upside down. Because the truth is, you cannot sell parastatal bodies without the approval of Parliament, unless we are a purely presidential system, which we are not. We still have Parliament, and we have the Senate. So for anyone to purport that you'll act without Parliament is sabotaging Parliament in the first place, sabotaging our Constitution, and allowing himself to be intoxicated by the winds of dictatorship. And we'll not allow that after 20 years. It is not in this country anymore. Yes.
There are some issues which has been happening for some time, which I have been following, regarding to some organizations funded by the government and some parastatos. In fact, the reason why this came up is because there are some parastatos which are not making any returns. They're only receiving money from the government, and on the other hand, there's nothing they are bringing back either to the government. And I was feeling for the government, because if the government is pumping huge budget towards these parastatos, and there's no reciprocation against that, I think also as a person you feel for the government. It's like you are draining your water where you cannot be able to get some produce. Again, on the same, which I think got a lot of opposition, the government was for the idea that some universities should not be funded by the government, especially public universities, because they are receiving a lot of funding from the government, and they are also receiving a lot of money from the public. What I'm trying to say is that there are many institutions, whether parastatos or institutions like universities, who are receiving a lot of money from the government and there is no reciprocation on the same. Why should we spend money where we're not getting the value of that money?
My answer, Kagi, is very simple. Get rid of them. There's no need of keeping that which does not give you any money.
By selling them.
Yeah, either sell them. But you see, unfortunately, like you just said,
yeah.
I think the president and the cabinet are trying to hoodwink parliament into accepting that idea of allowing the president and the cabinet to take charge of selling those. Those parastatals will end up with individuals. We know that. I mean, it's all black and white. They'll end up with individuals. And once they end up with individuals, the same individuals will end up selling them to probably even foreigners.
Yeah.
So long as the bottom line is money. They don't care. Yeah.
Okay.
So just get rid of those that are not helping Kenyans. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sure they can put that money to good use.
Yeah, because if the parliament is not allowed to be able to work,
Yes.
then it's going to be used like a rubber stamp for everything.
And this is why I'm saying that money can be put to good use, because I'm a former teacher and I know what teachers are going through. And each time teachers agitate for pay rise, what happens is that they ask them to hold on. Don't worry, just hold on. You know, the longer they stay out there, they end up in the deep freeze. Because when you tell teachers that we'll pay you after, you'll get all your money after 2-3 years.
Yes.
Yet when ministers in this cabinet, when they increase salaries, they get them instantly. You know, you don't ask them to hold on for 2 years. I think that's a bit demeaning to teachers.
Yeah.
So that money, those parastatals that are obsolete, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Pump more money into these teachers. We need teachers in this country.
As you talk about teachers, and you being one of them, as you can see in the papers, that the teachers have refused to accept the new increment.
Who would accept this?
Why not accept?
You see the problem, Kagi. You can't wake up every morning giving promises, right? Promises after promises, promises of... You just do your work. You deliver. Forget about those other things. Whatever happens at the back should not worry you. It is what happens at the front that should worry you. Yeah.
But they're receiving an increment of...
No. Teachers need better treatment. In this country, without teachers, we'll not have a president, we'll not have cabinet secretaries, we'll not have all these people employed, wherever they're employed. Teachers are that important. Yes. And I've been agitating for a good pay for ECD teachers. Yeah. If you're left with your child in the house, that is the day you understand the importance of taking that child to a teacher. Because you'll not manage. Yeah. So for me, I believe that the ECD teacher should get at least the lowest salary should be 80K.
8K, the lowest.
80K.
How much? 80K.
Yeah, 80,000 Kenya shillings. They do a lot of work. Wow, you go into those rooms and you'll understand.
Yeah, especially these days, have been given more responsibilities. They're taking care of the toddlers.
Yes.
You don't have a maid in the house. You leave that child with you.
The playgroup. The playgroup. Yeah. Okay.
Before we conclude, you had whispered to me about the commemoration of I Have a Dream.
Oh yeah, we are planning with the American Corner in honor of the late Dr. Martin Luther King's iconic speech.
Yes.
That I have a dream, which I'll be reading. Of course, we want to relive every single moment of that day, the 28th of August, 1963. It was called March on Washington. You know.
Why should we commemorate that speech?
If you read the speech, it has a lot of relevance in this country. Because, and even if you look at most of his quotes, you'll understand they're more relevant now than they were then. So that's the reason why, being an iconic civil rights leader, it's unfortunate because, and this is why you've asked this question, look at our social studies. I'm sorry that I have to say this. Yeah. I'm sure the publishers might not be happy, but this is the plain truth. We don't teach our children the real history. Yeah, true. Looking at the British curriculum, they've never changed. When they talk of King Arthur, here we are talking about very funny things. I look at, because I go through those books myself, they're still talking about King Arthur. They still talk about the Agincourt battles. They still talk about King Henry VIII, right? We talk about the Tudors who ruled England for 500 years.
Yes.
But here, you know, they've brushed off all that so that we no longer talk about the, you know, how Kenya was colonized, you know, how colonials came to Kenya, how they settled here, how they frustrated and mistreated our people. We don't want to share that. And how we ended up with the two constitutions. Yeah.
And many Kenyans don't know, especially for young people, where we have come from as a country and where we are heading to.
I asked one, there's a student, and
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
When the horizon seems like an impossibility, with the right touch and guidance, we will eventually get there. The journey made easier, and dreams within your reach. Providing holistic healthcare solutions.
For men ought always to pray and not to faint, and the scriptures emphasize that we should pray without ceasing. The Watchers Hub Network invites you to our services in the city of Nairobi, the convergence of bond servants. Every first Friday of the month from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. For every other Friday of the month, we have a kesha from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. at the CPF House along Parliament Road in Nairobi CBD, hosted by Charles and Joyce.
We worship God with a spirit.
We are raising an army of the manifested sons of God, an army of kings, an army of priests, an army of kingdom legislators.
I decree and I declare, your story will change. Your testimony will be fresh and new in the name of Jesus.
It is time to take dominion. For more information, reach out to us on 0759 837 399. Karibu.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Yes, welcome back to the Mid-Morning Pack, and today, as I told you earlier, we are talking about assessing state of devolution in our country. I have with me Jimmy Wagakafo and Anthony Muithaga, and I'm asking you a very simple question. What are your views on the hits and misses of devolved governance? What are your views and the hits of and misses of devolved governance? Talk to me through my SMS number 23814. Our WhatsApp number 0721-105 and 105. We are live on our FB account, MBCI TV, and YouTube, MBCI TV Official. And first, let me welcome Jimmy Wakakavu to the studio. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm good.
How is it going?
The going is getting tough.
It's getting
day
tough.
by day.
Day by day. Where is it getting tough?
Well, thank God, because He has been so faithful. Despite the many challenges, we have to press on.
Yes.
Yeah, because we are there. We cannot surrender.
Okay.
Yeah, so everything is okay.
Welcome about.
Thank you very much.
How is Devolution doing generally in the country?
Devolution is not doing very bad, and also it is not doing very well. But we have to accept that devolution is one great idea that was introduced by our Constitution.
Yes.
And it is one idea that happened to introduce services of the government closer to the people.
Yes.
And in every aspect of devolution, it should be directing services to the mwananchi and making sure that every county happen to make the electorate feel the government of the day. So I have been following closely the conference that was taking place at Eldoret. And I want to say that if they happen to keep their words, then I think we shall be proud of the devolution in this country.
Yes, it's not the first time that we had such a devolution. We are celebrating 1 decade of devolution. We had several such devolution conferences in the country. I didn't hear them maybe in trying to make a post-mortem of the previous devolutions, whether what they agreed or the resolutions of previous conferences are bearing any fruits.
I also didn't hear the post-mortem done, although they tried to pass it lightly. But I would wish to say that maybe we have a problem in the leadership of the country. Because every time we have such a conference, we do it because we have to do it.
Yeah.
And remember that as much as the leadership and the governance of the country is concerned, people should always be looking at the progress of the day, from yesterday to today, and then what we expect for tomorrow.
Yes.
Unfortunately, our leaders happen to look into how they shall establish themselves first, before they establish what the mwananchi is expecting. That is why maybe the post-mortem might not be very important.
But there were good resolutions that were made there. There were good resolutions there?
Yeah, there were resolutions that were made there. But the problem is, as I have said earlier, is implementing what these people happen to focus and happen to plan for the next maybe years of devolution. So to me and to many people outside there, you hear people say this is just a formality. It is upon the government to see that what they said has come to be implemented. If they happen not to do that, then people will not have any taste of such a conference.
Very true.
Yeah.
And as you had likely said, one of the major functions of the devolution according to the Constitution is to share some state functions.
Yes.
And I was trying to counter-check whether it has been happening, and maybe I know you've been moving here and there. Do you feel as if these functions have been properly shared and the effects has been felt positively?
No. Definitely no.
Why in the counties?
I might not even say fairly.
It's a big no.
It's a big no.
And the counties are receiving their equitable share from the national government?
There have been a problem, and we have had governors complaining. You remember just the other day, governors were almost demonstrating.
Yeah, I remember.
They were just about to go along the street.
Yes, I remember.
Claiming that they don't receive shares from the exchequer. And that is one way of delaying services to the people.
Yes.
Yeah. If the exchequer does not give the counties what they expect, then you expect the counties to crawl with the little they happen to get.
Yes.
Number two, the rate of corruption in governance is very high. Yeah. in a way that the little that is collected, even from the revenues, you find these people putting their stomachs first before they put the services to the Mwananchi first.
Yeah.
Yeah? Then definitely you not see what the government is doing. You not see how the county government, not the national government, how the county government is doing. And that is how people will not see the state functions felt machinally. So, and this is where my noise is coming. What we can see, we see very little according to what people would expect from county governance.
Yes, Wakafo. But if you look at the sharing of the revenue now per counties, you find that they are spending more money in paying salaries, less money, more money also in paying the pending bills, and very little money for development. How do we expect county governments maybe to perform with maybe 20% of their revenue is going for development only?
If I become the president of this country today, my first agenda is to revisit salaries and wages to the civil servants.
You want to sack people?
The national government is paying a lot of money. It is spending a lot of money in salaries and wages. In fact, it is what the taxpayers' money is spent more than development.
Very true.
And you would wonder how you would have a very huge team of people working for the government, earning from the same government. At the same time, these are the leaders who are expected to deliver to the crowd. And yet, the national government is complaining that there is no money.
Yeah.
So if we happen to scrutinize how people are receiving salaries in this country, I'm telling you, people will also have the joy and the pressure to live in their own land.
Yeah. And the wage bill is rising each and every day.
Each and every day. Just the other day, you see now, the government in place, it happened to introduce the slots of CAS.
Yes.
50 slots. Above, I think during the President Uhuru's era, it was about 20 or
23.
23. Now double, they doubled the numbers. Where are these people getting their salaries? Who will be paying them? The taxpayer. If you happen to look at the salary and allowances and all the whatever for the single CAS, you definitely say that Kenya, we are crazy.
Yeah.
That is just about CAS. There are so many other positions that are created.
Yes.
Just to fix friends, supporters, sycophants into salaries. You don't want to mind about the common Mwananchi.
Yes. Despite that, Mr. Anthony, I think we also need to have a policy to be able to manage our wage bill in the country. It's not there.
What was the anniversary for devolution meant to be? What is a postmortem in the first place? Because you see, we need to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
When you keep telling us this is what you want to do, but you're not telling us the misses, you know, we should be bold enough and say, you know, we introduced devolution, you know, as a way of sharing resources and other things with the national government. But we have governors who've stolen. We have people who are still in those county governments who are still stealing. What have you done? Because you see, there's no way you're going to get rid of corruption when you still have them. So it's the same thing when you, because there's a difference between autobiography and biography.
Yeah.
When you write your book, it is an autobiography. When Jimmy writes my book, it's a biography. What do you say in an autobiography? The things you did. But looking at most of those autobiographies, people don't say what they did. Yeah? You know, if you committed sins, no one says about those things. They end up saying those wonderful things. And that's exactly what happened at the Devolution conference. And I agree with Jimmy because our wage bill has gone off, over the roof. Something needs to be done. And I wrote that in my Facebook page, and said, there's no way you can increase the salaries of ministers in these countries and you're telling teachers to wait for 2 years. No way. It's not fair. You can imagine the amount of work teachers do. Yeah, and you complained when we were having the analysis that most of these ministers' work is just to sit in the offices. So I agree that their salaries need to be reduced. Assume, just like, because until 1840, MPs were not receiving salaries in Switzerland.
They were not receiving salaries?
No, they just were. No secretary, no peer, personal assistant. They just used to do their work. Assume that happens in this country. Believe me, you'd even run for president and nobody would even bother. Because there's no money. Yes. Besides the salaries, the money to steal. You see, that's the problem. Because they know those loopholes. Yeah. Forget about those salaries. The president gets about what, 1.3, 1.4? Yeah. Forget about that. It is the money they steal from wherever that money is.
Yes. Yeah. It is now 1 decade since the devolution came into place in our country. What is your scorecard regarding to the devolution?
The devolution has what we call an intricate balance, because there are the pros and cons, like Jimmy said. And there's nothing bad, because it's still a baby we're trying to nurture. Are we together? Yeah. So the important thing is to get rid of those things that are stagnating the idea of devolution. I was vehemently opposed to the idea of health coming down to devolution, because most health workers and even doctors have been frustrated by our counties. Yeah. I think it should still remain as a national function. Let us have all these other things. Let us have a commensurate way of working with the national government, because the national government should not oppress the county governments, right? And I think the moment we are able to do that, then we'll not have all these problems. And besides the conference, I think we should have a national dialogue on this through what we call civic education. We've been running for these seats with Jimmy and others. In this country, we avoid that route of civic education. So that is when you go out there and tell people this is what is expected of you, you're saying, I don't think, because the government has not spoken about it. So when you talk to people about that article, the famous Article 37, some people tell you it doesn't exist because they don't want it to be known. So I think it is only prudent when we have a national dialogue and then we have civic education from year 1 to year 2. Let people know their rights and their limitations, their freedoms. We need to question the government of the day, because it is a board of trustees on behalf of the people of the Republic of Kenya.
There is that transfer of functions from the national government to county governments. Out of the 47 counties that we have, do you feel that there has been a significant positive impact on that, on the ground?
There has been. Well, we wouldn't talk about a big share, but those who are committed, and that's what I said about patriotism, those who are committed to work, they have done it. I still admire a person like Professor Chepkwony of Kericho. Yeah. Do you know that man did not build a new mansion for governor? He just stayed in a small house, and that's how he left. And I think that is that sort of commitment is what we need as a patriot. This is my country, I'm serving people, I'm not serving myself. So that tomorrow we'll talk about Kagi, we'll talk about Jimmy, we'll talk about somebody else having done the right thing. What legacy do you want to leave? Yeah. But unfortunately, we want to line our pockets with money. They want to know me as one person who has 7 V8s. Range Rover and Mercedes-Benz. Yeah. That attitude has to go away. Our attitudes towards leadership is wrong.
Yeah. And finally, one of the major transferred function is the health sector, which is not doing pretty good. And I've heard the president promising that in some few months, he's going to facilitate the transfer of other functions proposed to the counties. And don't you feel it is more risky to transfer more functions to counties as the one that you're having, the health sector, is crawling?
I would question the sincerity of transferring those functions. Because you've just heard about the Kajiado, what do you call this? Kajiado County that has been given that reserve.
Yes.
The problem is that most of these fellows are politicians. If they're politicians, chances are they're doing that because of 2027, right? I don't think it is right, because the health sector is dying. Because now we have it in the county. but it's not functioning properly because we always have complaints from doctors, nurses, oh, we've not done this, this hasn't been done to us, we haven't received our money. Why don't we just allow it to be a national function? And transferring of anything else would only be a disaster because we've not even managed this one.
Yes, true.
Yes. So we don't want to add more problems to the county.
And I go back to you, Ginny. One of the, I think, proposals that we are having at the National Dialogue Committee, which is being discussed by the technical team to give an agenda for the talks. There was one proposal that says that we need to add more counties, from 47 to 50 something. Is that wise enough?
Adding some counties to the existing 47, to me, it is a burden to the commoners. It is also a burden to the national government because these people want to create more opportunities of those men who are looking for power. And when you happen to go that direction, I would say that the 47 counties already are crawling. The government is not in a position to serve the 47 existing counties.
Yeah.
Now you want to add some more. That tells you that you want also to increase the burden. You want to increase the number of county governors who are warming themselves to go to the streets and demonstrate for lack of funds from the exchequer. So I would wish, in fact, I would wish they could have reduced the number of counties rather than bringing an idea of adding more counties. If you happen to go squarely on the circle within the idea of adding more counties, you realize that there is nothing below power seeking. There are people who are trying to make ways of how they will increase their numbers in the power circle.
What about the issue of marginalization from some quarters? Some people are being marginalized, maybe due to their numbers or maybe because of their standing in politics, and they feel they need to have their own representation.
Where? Like?
Korea. They want to have their own.
They have their county.
Yeah.
They have their county. If there is anything that that can be blamed from whatever they may be looking forward to achieve, it can be directly to the county government from where they come from.
Yeah.
Because the way the 47 counties were set, there is no any community in this country which does not fit in those counties. Services happen to go direct to those people. The only thing that maybe we could campaign for is the idea of one man, one vote, one shilling. This is now where those couriers and whichever any other county where maybe people feel that there is no services that are coming closer to them, they will be considered as per the population of that particular area, not as per the geographical boundaries. And that is the one way that every Kenyan will be considered by the national government in every aspect of delivery, service delivery. So we should not be thinking of adding more counties. We should be thinking of how every Kenyan will benefit from.
And your idea of one man or one vote, one shilling has been fronted several times. But I think even after being fronted, it is not seeing the light at the end of the day. That's why maybe they are proposing for the adding of more counties.
It will not serve. It will not serve. Even if they happen to add more counties, they will finally consider one man, one vote, one shilling. Those people who are against the idea, they are the people who want they are selfish leaders who don't want to see extension of services to other people.
Yeah.
They just want to see singled out regions where all services might be. And number two, they happen to see as if this 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling might be a big beneficiary or beneficial idea to some regions.
Yeah.
But if we talk of equitable distribution of resources in this country, we must consider 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling.
All right. Maybe, I don't know whether our clip from the ground from Vincent Kimutai is ready, because we need to hear from our people on the ground what they are saying about devolution. I don't know whether the director is ready with that. As we are waiting for that from Vincent Kimutai, yeah, he's telling me it's very much ready. So we join our reporter on the ground, Vincent Kimutai, to hear what the people are saying on the ground regarding to this matter. Vincent Kimutai.
Shukran sana Paul Kage, na kama vile ambavyo mmeweza kusema ukiwa hapo studioni, ni kwamba leo hapa nitakuwa nikiwashirikisha Wakenya kuhusiana na swala nzima la ugatuzi nchini. Katika kongamano la ugatuzi lililofanyika mjini Eldoret kwenye kaunti ya Uasin Gishu, viongozi mbalimbali akiwemo Rais William Ruto pamoja na naibu wake Rigathi Gachagua waliweza kusifia serikali za ugatuzi kwamba kuna mengi ambayo yameweza kufanikishwa tangu kuanzishwa kwa ugatuzi nchini mwaka 2013. Na leo hapa nitakuwa nikizungumza na Wakenya kufahamu iwapo serikali za ugatuzi imeweza kuafikia mengi, hasa kupeleka maendeleo mashinani tangu ilipoweza kuanzishwa mwaka 2013. Unafikiri serikali za ugatuzi au serikali za kaunti imeweza kufikisha maendeleo mashinani jinsi ambavyo ugatuzi ulikuwa ukitarajiwa kabla ya kuanzishwa?
Devolution, kulingana na matarajio ambayo tulikuwa tunatarajia katika nchi yetu ya Kenya na mashinani pia, ni kweli imetimiza, na tumeshukuru kwa sababu tumeona haswa sasa tukiangalia kama maeneo haya yaliishi vumbi, yaliishi maeneo kama yalikuwa yameachiriwa, hayakuwa yanaonekana ni kama mahali ambapo palikuwa pamewachiriwa. But according to mahali ambapo tunaona ya kwamba kuna kitu ambacho Devolution imefanya. Kuna mageuzi mengi sana mabadiliko mengi sana ambayo tumeshuhudia na tumeyaona. Kwa hivyo sisi hatuwezi tukakachifu serikali ya Devolution ama tukaona ya kwamba haijafanya kazi, kwa sababu kulingana na serikali ambazo zilikuwako enzi za Moi wakati ule, mambo kama haya ambayo tunayaona hapa ilikuwa ni ngumu sana kuyaona.
Kitu ya kwanza ni maendeleo vile imetukujia karibu. Tumeona vitu kama mabarabara hatukukuwa nazo, zimeongezeka. Mambo zingine tumeona mahospitali zimepanuliwa na hatukuwa nazo, madispensary. Sasa tumeona tumeletewa huduma karibu na wananchi. Kitu ya pili ni kwamba kitu kama hizi nursery schools hazikukuwa zimeshikiliwa maanani, lakini for now tunaona ECD zimechukuliwa maanani kwa sababu zimeingia kwa kaunti. So tukiangalia hata hapo nyuma walimu hawako wanalipwa wa ECD, lakini wakati imeingia kwa kaunti wameanza kulipwa. Upande wa madaktari, tuseme kama sisi ni community health, tumekuwa community health volunteers kwa muda mrefu, over 10 years, lakini hatukuchoka, tumekuwa tukihudumia tu wananchi. Lakini for now ilifika mahali wakati tumepata direction kutoka kwa our president, ikakuja mashinani kwa county, ikawa ya kwamba tuwe sensitized na tupewe tools za kutumiwa na mpaka hata madawa, ndiposa tuwe na health nation. Yeah.
Tangu serikali hizi za county zianzishwe sijaona mabadiliko yoyote. Kwa hivyo maoni yangu, ningeona ingekuwa vyema kama hali ingekuwa ile ya zamani ya serikali kuu iwe inafanya kazi yake kuhakikisha maisha bora kwa wananchi.
Mimi pangu naweza sema mambo imeenda vizuri. Wakati mambo iko kwa county, si tunaona vile kulikuwa zamani, sio kama sasa hivi. Mambo ikiwa kwa county inakuwa at least juu wako karibu mashinani. Hiyo mimi naonelea ni mzuri. kuingia mashinani imekuwa kitu inafurahisha watu. Tukikuta maugonjwa sisi tunawatoa, tunapelekea madaktari na tunashikana. Imekuwa kitu imetuwezesha kama community.
Naona mambo ya devolution sio ni mwelekeo iko nayo, ijapokuwa ule mwenye alileta hiyo fikira akuona Mkenya anaelekea wapi. Shida ni ufisadi kuu katika counties. Mpango ilikuwa mzuri, lakini wenye kufanya hiyo kazi hawako. Mkenya aliingia mambo ya ufisadi kuliko mambo ingine. Ule mwenye anapewa kazi kama gavana ni kama ni zawadi wa magavana wanapewa ya mamilioni ya kuchukua kuweka kwa mifuko yao. Hakuna yenye wanafanya. Kama ingekuwa ni uwezo wangu, mimi ningesema serikali ipaki vile ilikuwa ya zamani ya national government peke yake. Devolution ni kuiba mwananchi.
Hatuwezi saidika juu hata hatuwezi pata pesa ya kuendesha biashara. Kwa hivyo naona tu serikali ibaki vile ilikuwa ya kitambo.
Kama counties zimeanza kujisimamia mambo ya nini? Ya hospitali, afya. Sasa ikatolewa kutoka kwa national government, ikaletwa kwa county. Sasa yote ikakuwa inashughulikiwa na nini? Na county government.
Okay, wito wangu kwa serikali, kitu cha kwanza ni wakati tunapoendelea na ama wakati kama huu sasa, wito wangu kwa serikali ni ku make sure zile pesa ambazo zinatoka kwa national government zikija mashinani. Wito wangu kwa serikali ni kufuatilia kana kwamba hizo pesa zimefanya jinsi ambavyo zilikusudiwa. Kama ni hospitalini, hizo pesa zimetumika, barabarani zimetumika, ili kwamba devolution iweze kuwa kamili kulingana na vile ilivyokuwa imeangaziwa. Kwa sababu wasipofuatilia, kila kitu ni kufuatilia. Na wasipofuatilia, national government iangalie, ijue ya kwamba zile pesa ambazo tumetuma county yetu ya Nakuru, vile tulisema ya kwamba zinatakiwa ziende kwa hospitalini, zijenge barabara, zimefanya hivyo. Hiyo ndio wito wangu ambao ningeweza kutoa kwa serikali kuu na serikali ambayo zinatutawala za county za devolution.
Kama ni wakati sasa serikali ilikuwa ni kutegemea pale Nairobi, hii maendeleo yenye tunaona hapa mashinani hatungekuwa naiona. Ilikuwa bali sana na sisi. Sababu lazima ipitiswe kule Nairobi. Lakini siku hizi huwa inapitishwa tu hapa tu kwa county. Si ndio hivyo? Tuseme sasa kwa upande sasa ya maji. Maji sasa imekuwa karibu sana na watu. Barabara imekuwa karibu sana na watu. Wakati kulikuwa hakuna hii devolution, hata barabara ilikuwa ni mashamba. Lakini siku hizi kila pahali, hata kama hakuna rami, unakuta mara muiko. Maji iko. Sasa serikali ya ungatuzi ni serikali mzuri.
Kagi, ni maoni ya Wakenya hayo kuhusiana na swala nzima la ugatuzi, ambapo wengi wanasema japo kuna manufaa mengi ambayo yameweza kuafikiwa, kuna baadhi ya changamoto ambazo zinapaswa kushughulikiwa, ikiwemo changamoto la swala la ufisadi ambalo limeonekana ukithiri kwenye serikali za kaunti tangu kuanzishwa mwaka 2013. Katika kongamano la ugatuzi lililofanyika Uasin Gishu kule mjini Eldoret, serikali iliweza kuahidi kuwa itaendelea kuunga mkono serikali za ugatuzi ili kuweza kuona inatekeleza miradi ya maendeleo au inaweza kuwa na manufaa mengi katika taifa. Hata hivyo, kiongozi wa upinzani Raila Odinga aliweza kuitaka serikali kuweza kuiwachia serikali za kaunti jukumu lake yote ambalo limeweza kugatuliwa na kutekelezwa na serikali za kaunti. Vile vile Raila aliweza kuitaka serikali kuweza kuharakisha mpango wa kuhamisha huduma zote za kaunti kuhamishwa kwenye ngazi za kaunti. Nikiripotia kipindi cha Mid Morning Park MBC TV, jina langu ni Vincent Kimutai.
Yes, very well, my colleague Vincent Kimutai, and for that elaborate presentation. And my guests, I start with Anthony. You have heard what the people are saying. Mm-hmm. One thing I could note that people are basically knowledgeable about what is a county government. Mm-hmm. It's a good gesture. But what is your maybe general observation of what they have said this morning?
I think I said here before we went on break that the idea of devolution is about an intricate balance between the national government and the county government. Mm. We are not saying that we are not condemning per se that work hasn't been done.
Yeah.
And those who are able to read my articles on Facebook, I keep saying, because I complain about roads, the quality of workmanship. It's not just about, constructing a new tarmac road there and just leaving it there. Less than a year, we all have potholes all over there. It is the quality of workmanship. We are not saying that money has not come down here. Unfortunately, that money has ended up in people. I think we have too many thieves in the county governments. So that they have allowed nepotism, tribalism, and sycophancy to become part and parcel of the county government. So that money meant for service and service delivery will never get to us. Yes.
And what do you think is the biggest casualty in terms of development that we are lacking on the ground, which is a function of county government?
Human capital, because we have many young people who don't have jobs. And it's unfortunate. I remember, and I support this, when Governor Tito once said that if you're to employ people, can you just start with the locals first? Which is okay. In any environment, you satisfy the demand, the local demand, before you can go out to get more people to come in. And we have no problem with foreigners coming to Nakuru. But are you able to take care of the people around here? No. Because you've allowed, and I've just said, nepotism, tribalism, sycophancy, and money to change hands. So at the end of the day, our young men don't get jobs. We had the Kazim Tani. It just died like that. Because they used to come to where I stay and they would ask me, can you help us get these jobs? It has become impenetrable because some people have decided this is their quota and will not allow any other person to do this.
Yeah, one of the things that we had discussed with Wagakafu is regarding to the wage bill, which is a huge problem to either national or county government. What is your, as a politician, as a leader, what has been crossing in your mind regarding to sorting out the issue of the unemployment in our country? And per se, what is the take of the county government in providing job opportunities for our young people?
You remember I spoke about getting rid of some of these parastatals. Those that are not, the obsolete should just be sold. And then we'll be able to pump money back into the public coffers. Secondly, our young people have realized that they're not able to penetrate these government jobs. So they come up with this digital creation. Unfortunately now, we are following them up there to pay. We have no problem with paying income tax, but forget about this other money they're also making, because if they fail to get jobs on this side, then they should be able to help the government create more jobs that way. And then you'll not be worried that the youth is idle. Unfortunately, most of our youth are idle. And so the government is not doing anything to do that, to address that problem with a finality. We need that sort of finality so that we don't have to watch our children go to the WorldCoin. Is it WorldCoin? And get 7,700 and you don't know why they're doing it.
True. Yes. Right, Jimmy, you have heard what the Mwananchi is saying on the ground regarding to devolution. What have you picked from them?
I want to agree that they are well informed. And number two, I will not wish, from my end, I will not wish to support those who are saying that we should go back to where we were. When we had national government doing everything down to the grassroots. We have to support devolution by all means, because the main agenda of coming up with the devolution, it was reaching out to the commoners. But I would wish to emphasize on these two things. Number one is about the corruption. I have heard those people say that they have a problem with the corruption even in the county government. This is the very fortunate thing that is making everything fail. If we happen to address corruption in this country, by the way, Kenya is a very rich country. If every revenue collected is well utilized, and we have people who are not selfish, they are not greedy for money, then definitely that tax will reach to what it is expected to be done. Now, our leaders of today, you will find that whenever election comes, those who are elected, their first mentality is how much will I loot? from the taxpayers' money. Therefore, we must address the issue of corruption. And Kenyans must come out clearly, strongly, and boldly. They condemn those leaders who are even publicly spotted as corrupt, so that we may also give space of good governance where development will be felt on the ground. Number two, devolution came with one very unique, specific idea of public participation.
Yeah.
I have heard some of them say that since the devolution, we have seen roads, we have seen water, we have seen clinics and all that, which is very true. Why? Because as a county government, every financial year, there must be a public participation done in every ward, not in every constituency, or in every ward. And this is where the Wananchi are given opportunity to come and propose which kind of development they want to see their government do in their area. And that's when we say we would wish to see this barabara tarmacked. We would wish to see a drainage done here. We would wish to have a health facility here. We would wish to see all those kind of developments. Then it is upon now the county government to collect all the views from that particular ward and prioritize what they want, what they are able to do for that particular financial year. And this is now where we say, if the national government and county government happen to collaborate on attending to the views of common Wananchi, then we must feel the powers of devolution on the ground. But public participations are done. We have attended several of them. We have given out our views. But you happen to see the county government not in a position to do what Mwananchi is expecting to be done. And that is where maybe you hear the governors complaining that they have not received their share from the exchequer. So we would pressurize and put more pressure on the national government that it should make sure that this money distributed to the counties for the purpose of development, it is utilized. And I want to echo the recent sentiments from William Ruto, who said that his government will not give any space for corrupt officials. And especially even from those who are working in the county government. How I wish Munaweza kutusaidia that sentiment will be repeated more often. It will remind him that he promised Kenyans that he will be the man at the front to counterattack those people who have the mentalities of corruption in the county government. We have that big problem. Money is rooted mercilessly and shamelessly.
When you talk about the issue of the public participation, I know you have been on the ground. One of the complaints that has been there is that public don't attend those meetings. I don't know whether you have seen it. And sometimes if they attend, their proposals are shortchanged. Maybe what they proposed for the county to do for them. It comes now to implementation, a different project is being implemented. Have you observed that?
Yes. And it's a very big call. It's my call today. If people could understand the power and the impact of public participation, they could not miss. Even in fact, they could make that day when the public participation is done in their places a holiday, so that they may go and tell the government, we want a hospital, we want this, we want that. But our people, even today, they have not yet understood the impact and importance of the public participation. Yes. I have heard my Mheshimiwa talk about civic education. Our people are not yet learned. They are not well informed. They need to be many forums and many workshops need to be organized by the government to make sure that these people understand what is county government, how the county government functions, how the services are supposed to be done, and all that. Because they have been given the power. If you check on our constitution, it is clear that the power belongs to the people. So it is not the government who is supposed to tell the people what it is to do. It is the people who are supposed to tell the government what they want.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Mr. Anthony, yesterday there was one positive statement by the president regarding to our counties. You know, he was in Masai Mara, and he directed that all the revenues collected by the KWS, Kenya World Service, 50% of that money should go to their counties. And it was a good boost for our counties. But my big question was, do you mean the county will run its affairs under the prerogative of the president to get revenues? Don't we have structures on how counties can receive more funding from government instead of maybe the executive orders from the...
You know, the county governments are semi-autonomous. And I've talked about getting a share of Lake Nakuru National Park, because you see, KWS collects all the money and takes all that money to Nairobi. And I don't think we're left with any share other than just to receive visitors and for some people to take the baskets to Nairobi. And I agree what Jimmy has said. People have the sovereign power. It is we to tell the government, not the government to tell us. That's why I said the government is a board of trustees. Each time they meet, they look at their minutes. This is what the people of this country have said. So you cannot just decide to make decision. And I like what Jimmy said. You propose, and then they go and change those proposals. Because we want a hospital here. That's the truth. That's the urgent need of these people here. The social amenities. We want a hospital here. We want a school here. We want this road tarmac, upgraded from Maram to bitumen standard. But what happens? They change. And if they are to do it, believe me, you, it will be substandard work. The quality of workmanship does not arise. So that in less than 2-3 years, there are potholes all over. He knows what we've been doing with him. Yes, we've been taking photos of these things. Like a simple, I don't know whether you know this road, Shadrach Kimalel, all the way down to where we have Christ the King School. There's, I don't know what you call them, they use them in construction. It is now protruding, out of the road. Yeah, and chances are that it's going to mess up people's tires, whether it's a motorbike, whether it's a car, whether it's a
hard course or something?
No. I don't know what you call them, these sort of steel bars. Yeah, there's a name to it, but it is not protruding, right? So, and that's a very simple thing, but the level of ignorance could kill this country.
It's very high.
Yeah.
Right,
and maybe to add on that, it is good for our people to know that whenever the government purposes to do any project through the county government, when people have done the public participation and said they want this, and the government happen to find it important for the people, and it is in a position to do the project, then there must be a small committee called Project Management Committee, which is formed by the people from that particular area.
Yes.
This is the committee that should tell the engineer and the contractor, we don't want this material here.
Oh.
Yes. They are there to say, no, you will not do it this way. Because the contractor, again, as he's saying, when they are given a project, they will go and sit down and try to look for the shortcut to do the project so that they may be paid. So it is upon the project management committee to tell the contractor, no, we don't want this. That's why you can go to a certain load, which was supposed to be mallam, and then you find that instead of doing with the best mallam, they use the dusty, whatever. In fact, the barabara happened to be worse than the way it was there before. So those project management committee, our people don't know about them. Contractors are coming to the ground, they do the project, there is no one who can offer oversight on what is done.
Yeah.
The project committee, management committee, has all the authority to tell the engineer, no, don't give this contractor certificate of completion because he has done a very short job. We will avoid someone given a contract to tarmac a certain road, and after 1 year, you find potholes of the same. And it was tarmacked. Millions of money was spent. Where were the people who saw the kind of layer that was done on that road? Whether it was just to cross the eyes of the Mwananchi, so that they may say, yes, the government has done a good job.
And who composes that committee?
People themselves. This is the procedure. Once I win a tender,
yes,
I should come down to the sub-county admin, who should call the ward admin. Those are the people, those are the eyes of the county government. Then the ward admin would call the administrators of that area, would also call the elders of that area.
And the chief.
In the daylight. Before the contractor, before the whatever, they appoint the project management committee. This is the chairman, this is whatever. Then from there, the project committee takes over. They now start coordinating and cooperating with the contractor on how the project should be done. As you see, now that's how the power belongs to the people. Yeah?
But how do you control the being compromised during the process?
A big problem. Corruption again. Corruption again. By the way, we have most of the projects that we have been complaining about. You find that contractor is well calculated and knows that if I happen to do this way, the way the government want, then I'll make this profit. If I happen to follow a shortcut, I'll make a better profit. Then I would just get a portion and call the project management committee
and sell them out. Then they go
definitely they will not complain.
They won't.
They will not even offer oversight. The project will be done. After 2 years, it is off.
Yes.
I agree with Jimmy Kagi.
Yes.
That's the truth. Project managers should be on the ground. Unfortunately, when someone calls you and tells you, see, can you call the others? I have about 3 million. 3 million is good money. And at the end of the day, they'll tell people, this work was done nicely. You know, the layer was fantastic.
Yeah.
But then after a year, you ask yourself, is this what we had been promised?
Yeah.
And you know, you remember you talked about his prerogative. Does he even have the prerogative to do that? Does the president have? The Constitution is very clear. People need to read. You know, I don't have to read the Constitution for you. And that is why we say this civic education is about reading out some of these things in the Constitution, so that people become knowledgeable, enlightened, so that you'll not, as an MP, as an MCA, as a president, you never get to do some of these things that we've been doing. Kienyeji uko. No. Yeah, those days are over.
Yeah. And one of the things we have talked about is the executive regarding to the county governments. We can maybe try to check about the county assembly. How has been the relationship between the executive in our counties and the county assembly?
There's a tendency of the county assemblies feeling neglected by the government. The treatment given to the National Assembly, the Senate, is totally different from the county assemblies. You've heard them complaining about grants, car loans, and they'll have, I think next time they'll be in the streets with us.
They've complained about their salaries.
Yes, they've complained about the salaries. But each time MPs assemble, they just get wind that their salaries are about to be increased. Believe me, they'll all be in attendance. So no one gets to miss. And if they do, I'm sure they'll send apology and ask Kagi to go and say it. The MCAs don't get that chance. Yet they're the people on the ground, like Jimmy has said. Those are the immediate guys. They'll be able to tell the MP this is what is happening. But is there a good relationship between MCAs and MPs? Sometimes not. Is there a good relationship between the county governments and the national government? No. Like now they feel a bit mistreated because the money came in late. Maybe they asked for loans. I think the first thing to do is to get rid of those loans. And then of course the salaries. Then you're left with no money. And then we are back to the same status.
Yeah. And the county executive and the county assembly, how has been their relationship? Is it mutual?
These are people now from the same party as we are talking about, right? So the aspect of sycophancy dilutes everything else. So it's not easy for them to check on the county. It becomes a difficult thing. That is why when some of these governors appear before the Senate for probing, they end up saying, oh, we have given him or her a clean bill of health.
Yeah. Then
who loses? The MCAs. And not just the MCAs, but the common man. Because he has a right to ask where his money is going and what his money is doing. But that channel is diluted.
Correct. Orakafu, I know you have been in this line there before. How would you maybe gauge the relationship between the county assembly and the National Assembly stroke the Senate?
Maybe to contribute on what my friend has said. The county assembly is the eye of common mwananchi. The MCA is elected as the very close elected leader to the electorate. His work is to oversight, is to legislate, and to represent the people. So in whichever way that the county government happen to oppress the commoners, then it is the MCA who is supposed to stand on the gap and tell the county government, no, my people refuse this, my people accept this. But the power of sycophancy, and by the way, again, the power of sycophancy in collaboration with corruption, those two things will never make the county assembly meet its expectation. If you happen to be a corrupt governor, definitely who is your oversight? It is the county assembly, it is the MCAs. Those are the soldiers of Wananchi who should tell you, no, you have to go home, we will impeach you. I think you have followed up Meru, where MCAs have attempted severally to impeach the governor. So if you happen to have those very good, competent MCAs in county assembly, they will ensure that the governor is performing, is competent enough, he's corrupt-free. But if the governor realizes that these guys who are in county assembly has more of sycophancy than representation, then they will be pocketed. And let me tell you, a corrupt governor will focus on silencing the MCAs not to question him or her on anything that is done corrupt in his executive circle. So the relationship between the executive and the county assembly should be no more, no less, but oversight.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, utasikia pesa imeporwa, but the MCAs,
they are very silent.
They are very silent.
Some are even given contracts.
Yeah.
I want you to erect this wall here.
Kagi, we had an issue of, did you follow up the issue of the nurses? Let me come to our county. Did you follow up the issue of our nurses? Where over 500 nurses were sent home? Yeah. Did you hear what the nurses were saying? There are some MCAs who are working closer to the executive, and they have been promised to be given slots of bringing their own people into the services.
Yeah.
So they have their people already. If I have my people whom I want the county government to employ, then I'll make sure that I support the executive in whichever measure they are doing to send those people who are innocent home so that my people may be employed. That is corruption. That is why you see even the lights of those nurses were nowhere to be given priority. We, as county assembly, and by the way, I'm going there soon. I have to meet several committees there because we must tell them, we must remind them what they are supposed to do in that county assembly. If they happen not to do it, then we shall raise the alarm. So the same case goes to National Assembly
and Senate.
Because now we have the MPs elected by electorate. Now the MP is also there to go and make laws which favor the commoners the roles which make sure that the national government is functioning its roles to the commoners, and all that. The MP is also there to represent his people at a higher capacity than the county assembly. But again, you happen to see how many times have we had these people meet at the toilet. And, and when they meet at the toilet, they walk back to the assembly smiling. And they will say, yes, 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 yes. What happened? Because they happen to be tunasemaga wanapigwa gumi ya tumbo. Then wananyamaza. If we happen to have that kind of leadership, then this country will never move a step forward. We shall be rotating same place. Yeah? Because we don't have people who would say, no, instead of getting this 10,000 into my pocket, I would stand and say the truth and defend my people and fight for their rights.
Yeah. As we are drawing closer to the end of the program, there is an issue of, which has been there for some time, the issue of the word fund, which has never materialized. I don't know, Anthony, what is your take on maybe facilitating the MCA to have their word rep, not word rep, but word fund? Would it be effective towards devolving the projects and development?
You've heard what Jimmy has said. If you're compromised, you'll not even ask those questions. Because you see, it is all a question of patriotism. Am I patriotic enough to say, I'm not going to take this money? Let me ask for this money because it means a lot to our people.
Yeah.
You know, they're able to take care of the small things down here, besides, you know, the CDF that is controlled by the MP. But at the end of the day, it is all about the county assembly, the MCAs. Are they willing to go that further mile and do the right thing?
Yeah.
So, and that is why they don't even ask that question. You had one MCA, was it in 2018? Or he, instead of using that money given to him in the ward, he bought a V8, 18 million. So you see, misplaced priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he knows I'll get away with it. Yeah. The level of psychophancy, the level of patriotism is unquestionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people are not committed. You've taken the Bible, you've taken the oath, you've said, I'm committed to this, you know, I want to deliver. But at the end,
and
someone is reminding you, you know, we have 3 million.
That is what we are lacking much in our nation, the patriotism.
Look at the first group of leaders we had in the 60s. They were committed. Some may even have died poor, but they left a legacy, because that should be our aim. Yeah, so when you talk about the word, money meant for the words, so long as it doesn't come from them, they don't ask it. They're busy asking for other things, car loans, grants. So when will they remember you? And that is why most of these MCAs disappear from their areas of representation. Tusikia the MCA alienda na hajawahi onekana. Yeah, you keep calling him, he doesn't pick your calls, he sends SMSs, I'm busy. There's one, we were just talking with a friend, asubuhi huwa anaamka anatoa magari yote anaweka nje huko mbali, anaambia watu wake wa mjini waseme kwamba hayupo. Yeah, so
they have been complaining that there has been too much demand from the public on supporting their challenges.
Why? Because you showed people money. Yeah. Kuwa mkono gamu, fanya campaign and do the right thing. So Jimmy and I have not been elected because of those things. Because we want to do the right thing. We want people to move away from that attitude of handouts. It's not helping us. MP akishachaguliwa anasema alilipia hicho kiti. So would you expect that person to deliver?
No.
Yeah. So you've just got the answer.
And Jimmy, it has been long since this word rep has been legalized. What has been happening? Not word, but word fund.
Word fund.
Okay. Yeah, I said word rep.
I guess
word fund.
Now, let me say, maybe I might differ a little bit with my friend on World Development Fund. Because if there is one leader who is close to the Mwananchi, is the MCA. Agree with me, Falakagi, that MCA would meet his residents very early in the morning before he gets out to the county assembly. He would meet them in his office. He will interact with them through phone, he will also meet them waiting for him when he goes back to, unlike MP, because MP, when he goes to Nairobi, after county assembly, he has an office there.
Yeah.
These guys has also homes away from where they are elected. So they will come when they want. But the MCA, unless you happen to park with your family, they are at home 24/7. All the problems of the residents are hurled at these people. They know, they understand the problem of Mwananchi more than any other leader.
Yeah.
So if this is the case, this is the person who understands the kind of need that his or her own residents need than anything else. If we talk of development, then these are the people who are supposed to be the patrons of every project done in that particular ward. And it can only be done when they have a kitty which they manage, and they make sure that things are done the way they are supposed to be done. If you go to the CDF, you happen to find that they have an allocation of emergency funds.
Yeah.
This emergency fund, like my place, you know, emergency fund is supposed to cater for fire, flood, and all that. We have never experienced such a thing since devolution came. So this is the money that happened to be used. There is a way that you can divert the funds into other important functions within your area. If we happen to have a ward development fund and it happened to have such a kitty, MCA, when he happened to receive a call that my child is at home, he didn't manage to go to school because of a BCD, he can cater for those kind of things. If you happen to come across a person who has been hospitalized and he is discharged, he cannot go home because he doesn't have money to go. Those are the kind of emergencies MCAs happen to come across. So if we have one development fund well utilized, I think people will enjoy devolved government more than they enjoy today. Yeah. The only problem is when we come to elections, people follow waves, people follow handouts, they elect leaders who don't have people at heart. So we cannot trust those kind of mentalities, World Development Fund, watapora yote. Yeah? We must have people who have mentality of development to their people. And this is why we happen to educate our people that it is very important to use the sixth sense when you are going to the ballot. Yes, this person has given me 1,000 to buy my vote, but who is this person? Which capacity and capability does he have to lead and to transform the lives of people from that particular ward or constituency? If we happen to have people who are listening that way, we will not have people complaining 1 week after election saying, tumefanya nini?
Tumepoteza.
Hapa tulipoteza. Now you are complaining 1 week after election, forgetting that you have four years, 11 months to go. So how many times did you complain? You then walk all over complaining, we elected a leader who was not what. If people happen to think of the leader they elect, then the MC happen to have such a fund, I'm sure transformation will be felt. Okay. So me, I support World Development Fund, and maybe to finalize of the same, World Development Fund cannot be there without the World Development Committees. Oh. There must be a committee. Is it elected or appointed by the people of that particular ward who will be managing? So there is no anything that the MCA can do without these committees saying.
Or like then we have the CDF committee.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
It is supposed to be there. In fact, it is in the constitution. It's only that it has never been implemented.
Our prayer is that they don't get compromised. Yeah. That is the only problem. Like you say, the project management committees which get compromised.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can come close to our program this morning. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming over to us and talking about the issue of the state of devolution. On behalf of my colleague Mangicho Mola, who is not in today, my name is Paul Kagi. I want to thank you so much for being together with us. On behalf of Jimmy Wakakafu, political analyst, and Anthony Muitaga, who is a governance expert, once again, my name is Paul Kagi. I wish you a blessed day ahead.